I have to admit, Rep's Colorado bar surprised me a bit, and with my barbell collection, that's no small feat. So to see how it ranks, I'm putting it up against Rogue, Bells of Steel, Fringe Sport, and I'll throw in a few more comparisons along the way. But the most interesting in them all might be that this bar shares a lot of similarities with some very high-end barbells. As a multi-purpose or mixed-use bar, as Rep calls it, you can use this for pretty much any lift. And between my wife and I, we've probably tried it all. So as I break this bar down in this review, literally, we'll go in depth on how it performed and what we found, and at the end, I'll rank all of these. This to me is Rep directly taking a shot at Rogue's Ohio bar. And it's not really that subtle, and it makes sense. To many people, Rogue is still the king of barbells, and this is their most popular bar. I mean, look at the names, though there's a little irony there since Rogue's bar is made in Ohio and Rep's is imported, and I know that doesn't matter to everyone, but I grew up on a farm with Chevy trucks and John Deere tractors, which is actually true. So American manufacturing has a special meaning to me, but you guys feel free to battle it out in the comments like you always do. And I appreciate the help with the algorithm. And speaking of help, if you enjoy our content and want to support the channel, then please use the affiliate links in the description if you make a purchase, because Rep will send us a small commission at no cost to you. And since I paid for this bar, you're effectively helping me steal my money back from them. All right, back on track. Side by side with Rogue's Ohio bar, and on paper, these two are very similar. Same 190K tensile strength, same 28.5 millimeter shaft diameter, both have dual knurling marks, and the list goes on. But I didn't spend a lot of late nights testing this thing and ignoring my non-existent social life to come here just to recite specs you can read on your own in the listing. My wife and I have taken this through a ton of workouts, and what we found is while they look similar, you could argue the Colorado bar shares more similarities with an American barbell than it does Rogue's. Now, those with a keen eye will notice that this is a power bar unlike the rest of these, but there's a very important reason that it's up here, and we'll get to that. But first, I want to talk about how the Colorado bar has held up for us. Multi-purpose bars are advertised as do-everything barbells, and there is truth to that. You can definitely perform any lift with one. And I know this sounds dumb to say, but I'm good at saying all kinds of stupid things. That also means it's not a specialty bar. So if you're doing a ton of Olympic movements because you have actual talent, unlike me, then get an Ollie bar. And if your main lifts are bench, squat, and deadlift, then I'd also look somewhere else because you'll want a more aggressive knurling than what's on this and a center knurl. And hey, I know a guy who's got reviews on all kinds of great power bars. That being said, this does have a more aggressive knurl than the rest of these, and I found it outperforming how I initially thought it would during deadlifts. Now, that's not me saying the medium depth volcano knurl of the Colorado bar has much bite to it, but compared to an Ohio bar, which is kind of the baseline standard for passive knurling, a Wonder bar that's really just trying to emulate Rogue's knurl, and the Bell's utility bar, which at best is muted in comparison, this has a little more bite to it. And ironically enough, you could probably make the case for it being a little more aggressive, or at least as aggressive as the Chewy bar's knurl, if not for the Cerakote finish, because the coating mutes the knurling a little bit since it fills in the knurl some, and that same thing could be said about the hard chrome finish Rep is offering. Either way, I really like this knurl as it works very well for high repetition workouts. And since we're kind of already on the topic of finishes, we should talk about both the Cerakote and Durakote option, this bar right here, and the hard chrome shaft and hard chrome sleeve variation. Technically, Rep offers 6 choices for this bar, but 5 are just different colored Cerakotes. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you might be wondering why I didn't just pick the red and black, since that's kind of my go-to color scheme. But after I didn't let Winnie pick the color of her AB 4100, which then awkwardly became her favorite bench, an impressive feat with all the benches I've very logically acquired over the years. I figured I should let her pick this one and then failed at convincing her she should do the review, so you're unfortunately stuck with me. But if you've been looking at this Ohio bar, you might have noticed one side looks a lot better than the other. Or maybe they both look bad and I just did a really job, but I cleaned half and left the other half alone because I thought it would show the importance of a good finish. Now, to be fair to Rogue, this is my oldest bar. It's got a black zinc shaft and bright zinc sleeves, just like the Bell's utility bar, and then the Wonder bar is just full black zinc. They're not particularly great finishes, but that's the point. You can actually see where my traps wore away the finish on the Ohio bar during squats. There's some rust here, and the sleeves are, well, this bar's been through a lot. And even though it's a Rogue bar and they do a great job with all their finishes, you can really only do so much with what you have. So sure, Rogue has an advantage in their Ohio bar in that they offer a lot more finish options than Rep, including stainless steel, which is my favorite finish on a shaft because it doesn't affect the knurling. That being said, Cerakote is a good coating on a shaft because it's durable, has great corrosion resistance, and Rep Cerakote is very cleanly applied. And I mention that because I've seen some pretty bad Cerakote applications from other companies. Their Duracoat, we actually talked about in our review of Rep's Double Black Diamond Power Bar, and this is the same thing as Rogue's matte black sleeves. They treat the sleeves, which hardens the steel and turns them into this nice black color, so it's not a coating like black zinc or Cerakote, but as you can see, it does still wear down. And I've got several bars with this finish from Rogue and now Rep, and while it's durable, I'd probably rank it third behind stainless steel and hard chrome as a sleeve finish. As for the chrome Rep's offering, it should be noted there's a difference between decorative chrome, that's often found on cheaper bars, and the hard chrome Rep is using. Decorative chrome is kind of like your favorite YouTuber, cute to look at, but probably not the strongest thing out there. We've all seen the shine of chrome bumpers and kitchen utensils. That's decorative chrome. It offers some corrosion and wear resistance, but hard chrome is typically used in industrial applications. It's a very durable hard coating that stands up well to wear and abrasion, has a high resistance to corrosion, and other advantages, but I can already see people's eyes glossing over, so let's just say it's the better and more expensive of the two. It's what Rep is using on their open trap bar that we reviewed, and having trained with that bar for about a year, those sleeves still look great, and it's what American Barbell uses on the sleeves of their bars, and many of their bars are commercial quality barbells that really weren't designed with the home gym market in mind, which makes this a good time to talk about build quality, because that's where I think this bar stands out from the others in this price range, and it'll also explain why I've got a power bar up here in a comparison of multi-purpose barbells. Sometimes when we talk about build quality, it can be subjective, or at least based on personal preference. Rep's laser etched collars are a cool touch, and their end caps are much nicer than Rogue's. You might prefer Rep's smooth sleeves to Rogue's ribbed, but none of those things really affect performance. When it comes to a bar's tolerance, that is how much play is in the sleeves, you can get up here and crank on these shafts all you want. You kind of get what you pay for. Bell's utility bar is by far the cheapest and has the most movement and rattle. The Wonder bar cleans it up some, and the Ohio and Colorado bar are actually pretty close to each other, but the similarities end there, because while the utility Wonder bar and Ohio bar are put together the same way with snap rings, washers, and bronze bushings, the Colorado bar's construction is more in line with a barbell that costs twice as much. But you probably already knew that if you have some weird mental thing where you take apart all of your barbells and try to pass it off like you're trying to help people with their buying decisions. So Reps Bar and the American Barbell Chewy Bar have striking similarities in how they're put together, though they are not perfectly identical. They've got composite bushings to reduce metal-on-metal contact, sound-deadening end caps. Hell, both have bolt-on sleeves. Rep clearly did their homework here, and when Winnie and I toured their booth at the Arnold and first saw their new barbell lineup, we were also able to speak to their engineers and the owners of the company for a few hours, and they've hired some passionate people that work hard to put out the best product they can. So that's why you may be able to see I was a little disappointed in their double black diamond power bar in our review. It's a great bar. It stands toe-to-toe with the Ohio Power Bar, but I was hoping it would be the clear favorite, which brings us to how I would rank this bar against these others. And to put things into perspective, we already know the Bell's utility bar is a budget bar, and it's a good bar for the money, but it doesn't compete with the rest of these. So if you're that guy in the comment that keeps saying, they're all just chunks of steel, well, I've linked them for you in the description, so you feel free to buy whichever one you like. Next, I'd put the Wonder Bar, which honestly isn't that far off the Ohio Bar because they're just trying to copy it, but Fringe's imported bar doesn't have nearly as many finish options. The quality isn't quite there versus Rogue, but maybe most interesting of all is that when we first reviewed the Wonder Bar over 2 years ago, go ahead and watch that video after fully watching this one to see how far the channel has come, but the Wonder Bar's price has gone up and the Ohio Bar's price has gone down over that 2-year span, so they lost some of that ground with their price advantage, which makes this a good time for the most important part of this comparison. How mad is your wife going to be when you order this? Meaning, how much does it cost? And to keep the comparison equal, we're comparing both the Cerakote options, and they're only about $35 apart. That's whether you buy the 20 kilogram version of the Colorado bar versus the Ohio bar, or the 15 kilogram version of the Colorado bar versus the Bella bar, which Winnie will be reviewing soon, so subscribe for that. This is where it gets tough for me because I love Rogue barbells. I think their cost to quality ratio is often the best in the game, which is why we own so many of them. And it's why I've consistently recommended them for years. But I think with most things being equal between these two, both have good knurling, their specs are evenly matched, the finishes are well done, though Rogue does offer more options, and even the spin of these bars are too close for it to really matter. If you compare the bronze bushings most other multi-purpose bars use versus the composite bushings of the Colorado, in a home gym, these things are still gonna last forever. But by putting their bar together like American Barbell does with most of theirs, I give Rep an advantage because it makes for a quieter bar both during use and when loading and unloading plates. Sure, none of that matters when your plates hit the ground during a lift, but if you've ever experienced the glare of your wife after you load deep dish plates onto a ribbed barbell sleeve when your baby's in the gym, well, you probably learned the hard way how nice a quiet bar can be. Then you've got the laser etched collars and the upgraded end caps, and it all adds up to a bar that I would pick over Rogue's Ohio bar. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. Am I completely off on this one, or maybe I missed something? If you enjoyed this video and want to listen to me talk about shafts for a while longer, check out this playlist of our barbell reviews here. Thanks to our Patreon, links in the description, and thanks for watching.